Every guitar has a story. Some guitars are mysteries. It's fun sometimes to be a guitar archaeologist and uncover and discover those mysteries and try to learn the story of the guitar. This is a 1987 Ibanez RG550 in Desert Sun Yellow, and it has a story. It's unique in a number of ways due to the modifications that the previous owner did to it, as well as the very unique repairs done to it. When I first saw this, it was something that stood out among the other Desert Yellow RG550s. This one has a Eddie Van Halen type Frankenstein look to it with the single humbucker, the single knob, and some very unique electronics inside. There is so much going on with this guitar, I don't even know where to begin. Immediately, you'll see that the pickguard has been removed. The neck humbucker and the middle single coil have been removed. Third-party pickup has been installed with a humbucker ring. That's not stock. And there is a very bizarre input jack here that looks like an XLR input. So the barrel jack is gone from the side, and a XLR input was mounted on the top of the guitar. There is a very interesting set of internal components. We have a single knob. It's actually not a pot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 position switch, rotary switch. We have a little toggle here that turns on this little blue LED, and there seems to be some kind of battery pack that's been cobbled together here out of either rechargeables or AA batteries. I can't tell. It's covered in a black electrical tape. This entire guitar is like something out of a Mad Max movie, including this repair job. There are cracks at the back of the neck, and in order to repair this, whoever did the job drilled 2 holes straight through the top of the fretboard, through the first fret, and inserted probably dowels with probably epoxy. They feel like plastic on the top, but I'm assuming that's some sort of glue. It is definitely a clever MacGyver way of fixing this, but it's definitely the wrong way. Everything about the repairs on this guitar was done not in a traditional sense, and that's why this guitar is so unique to me. This was definitely a gigging guitar, exposed to the elements, played, dented, dinged. There's rust pretty much on every metal surface. I assume at some point in the guitar's life it was exposed to the elements because there is dust and dirt everywhere. The serial number is obviously an 87, made in Japan in the famous Fujijin factory. This one, being 35 plus years old, had some cracks near the scarf joint and by the locking nut screws, which is common for all these guitars. This one probably took a bang, and those locking nut clamp screws just exasperated the crack, and they went all the way to the scarf joint and then into the headstock. The neck feels absolutely beautiful. So again, this is a real road-worn, very well-used gigged with guitar, and I don't know what I'm feeling when I hold this neck. It's certainly not lacquer and it's not wood. It's just burnished sweat upon sweat upon sweat, burnished and burnished. It just feels super smooth. The typical stress cracks can be found at the neck heel, so all of these Ibanez RG550s have cracks like this. If you find one that doesn't, then it probably lived its life in a case. And you can see that underneath is basswood, and it's quite brown from the years of use. This is the biggest stress crack. Pretty scary. It's a real thick one going all the way towards the belly carve, and I'm not sure what to make of it. It's really deep. Poor little thing probably got dropped quite a few times. Dirt, dust bunnies, really everywhere in every crevice. The active circuitry required a little bit longer depth. Looks like they chewed into the control cavity to make room for that circuit board. Don't know what it is. I can't wait to kind of dig in there and find out. Typically with the restoration, I'll find original pickups, but I just like the way it sounds. The bridge is completely pitted and rusted, so I'll be taking this apart piece by piece and removing all the rust and then reassembling. There's nothing I can do about the pitting, but I'm going to live with it. Every single fret is basically flat from use. 35 plus years of use. Again, look at the rust on the tuners. It's weird to see rust like that on a guitar, unless the guitar was exposed like outside or in a garage or somewhere. I think I'm going to probably get rid of the pickup ring and get a clear pickguard. I was planning on restoring this with an original 87 black pickguard, but I like the idea of seeing as much of the yellow as possible. And there's that weird XLR input. It looks weird, but it also looks cool. It's got this kind of MacGyver cleverness to it, like someone on the fly needed to repair it and did it with whatever they had. 2-position toggle just turns on the LED and the active circuitry. Off, the guitar doesn't play. You can see the edges of the fret on the fretboard are clean. So someone went in there and kind of removed a little bit of that fretboard patina on the edge of each fret. I'll have to disassemble the locking nut too and remove all the rust. The pitting won't come out, but it'll still be at least rust-free. Close-up of the stress cracks by the locking clamp nuts. This is typical of most RGs, although they don't typically extend towards the headstock and the tuners. This one took a fall. And you see this all the time when something's clamped down too tight and it hits the floor with that angled headstock, it's just going to continue down. These dowels are very interesting. I've never seen a repair job like this. Again, it's got that kind of MacGyver cleverness to it, but it's also kind of really dumb, but also unique. So obviously someone's on the road. You have no way of clamping. Maybe you don't have any glue. So you just drill 2 holes straight through the fretboard with whatever material you got, and you just epoxy them in or glue them in or whatever. There's my serial number. I'm very happy that I own a first-year production run of the RG550. So this is an 87. You can see the basswood underneath. It almost looks like mahogany. It's so dirty. And you can see how thick that polyurethane coat is. There's like a primer coat and the yellow coat. I collect these RG550s, and I wanted to keep the original owner's intent. So I decided to buy a clear pickguard from Pearl Guitars. It allows you to really see all that desert yellow color. You're not hiding it underneath a black pickguard. And it's the color that is really the star of the show. Even with this patina and the dents and the dings, you really want it to be up front and center. The fretboard too is just absolutely amazing. It has that worn in patina as well. Lots of dirt and color inside the grain of the wood. These maple boards weren't sealed in any way. What I really like about the pickguard is that you can see through and see the wiring. So I tried to clean it up as best I could. I used the yellow heat shrink tubing to attempt to tidy up the wiring. It's about as best I could do, even with the yellow zip ties. The pickguard has this interesting edge where the light is refracting and reflecting off that cut, and it looks really good. So as far as pickups, I ended up buying an Air Norton on eBay. It's the purple one. It's DiMarzio Air Norton. It's kind of a famous pickup for the neck position, and it's really everything they say is advertised. It's such a beautiful sounding musical pickup. I was able to find an original 1987 S1 single coil on eBay for a really good price. It was in really great condition too. All I did was replace the pickguard cover with these blue ones that I got on Amazon. It also came with that switch and knob. Obviously I chose purple and blue because they go fairly well with yellow, but I did want some color. I wanted a little bit of bling on this guitar. I think a lot of people are afraid of buying guitars with cracked necks or with repair jobs to necks, and I gotta say, I did a little bit of rework on the neck, but not much. It's just rock solid. Necks will crack at the weakest point, and once we repair them with wood glue, then that wood glue is most likely stronger than the wood itself. So there's really no concern about it re-breaking at the actual crack points. If you drop it again, it'll break probably somewhere else on the neck. So just don't be afraid of repair jobs on necks. I did a level crown and polish on the frets, and the polish came out really well because the strings just feel really smooth over those frets. I ended up keeping this XLR input that was part of the original input jack repair. I could have switched it out for a kill switch. Might be something I do in the future, but I want to keep the original intent of the repairs. That's what made this guitar so unique. I'm a big fan of the Edge tremolo, the original Edge tremolo on these 80s Ibanez guitars. This is what I grew up with, so these are the bridges that I played with when I was a teenager, and there is something special about them. I'm very happy with the way this guitar turned out, and it plays just like a dream. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.